Hello everyone, and I want to welcome you to week 9. Hopefully everybody got through their midterms well, and we're ready to take on the second half of the semester. In week 9 this week, we'll be talking about the topic of abortion. And I just wanted to take a minute to go through this week's assignment and the expectations for you so you guys could get started as soon as possible. I would recommend getting started on this right away. I know some people have been waiting until we have class to get started on their assignments, and I think you may be putting yourself a little bit behind where you want to be and limiting the amount of time you have to get these assignments done. Because as you'll notice, sometimes a lot of what you need for this assignment you can do before we meet, and waiting to class is kind of unnecessary and just kind of sets you back a little bit. So keep that in mind. As soon as you get a free moment, I know obviously you guys are still working on stuff for the midterm, but I would get started with the assignment for this week. So what we'll be doing this week, we'll be going over abortion. Before you come to class, as always, you should preview chapter 18 and be ready to discuss that. You should preview the videos from the faculty for supplemental information on the topic. Keep in mind you have a quiz that's due this week, Sunday 11:59 as usual. And then you have a Dropbox that'll be due this week by Sunday at 11:59. Okay, and that's what I want to talk about right now is this week's Dropbox assignment. So as you'll see, we have the instructions here in the module as usual. And what you're going to be doing this week, you're going to be finding an article about abortion, and you're going to be writing some specific things about it, okay? As it says here, submit your paper following the format provided in the example document within this module. I want you to consider that as an extension of these instructions, as I've been saying with the last few assignments. That means the Word document that's at the bottom of Module 9 is what I'm going to be holding you responsible for when it comes to grading and submitting the assignment, but I do have some of those things laid out in the instructions as well. My best piece of advice with these assignments is read the instructions 2, 3, 4, 5 times if necessary. I think what I'm seeing with students in their assignments, the things that they can improve on is just actually reading the instructions and see what it is exactly you're being asked to do. I feel like a lot of people jump into the assignment before they have a full understanding of what they're being asked, and that's leading to some issues with the completion of their assignment and then subsequently the grade that they get on it. So just really make sure you understand what I'm asking you to do. And as always, if you aren't certain of what I'm asking for, please email me and I'll clear that up for you, okay? All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to research an article published within this year. That means anything back to January 1st till now. Don't go into 2019. I want you to find something from this year because we want to test current information on the topic. So you're going to find an article published this year that contains a moral issue about abortion. And if you can notice, I put a heavy emphasis on the word moral. I do not want you selecting an article that deals solely with the legal issues of abortion. We've been having that discussion all semester about separating like legality and ethics. That your article could discuss both. But if you find an article that's purely just about changes to laws, whether they should or shouldn't be made in abortion, that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for things that deal with ethical or moral issues of abortion. And hopefully after 2 months of this class, we know what ethical and moral issues are, right? We're looking for those questions of right or wrong, all right? If you need any help with finding articles, as always, the librarians are there. You can use those services. You're going to include the proper APA citation for this article on the reference page. And what you're going to do, you have 3 paragraphs here in this assignment. Paragraph 1 in 6 to 8 sentences, you're going to use the content, key terms, and concepts from the chapter and summarize the article. Do not use direct quotes, paraphrase only, third person perspective only in this paragraph. So no first person, which is I, me, my, myself, mine, we, us, or our. And no second person, you, yours, and yourself. This first paragraph should be an academic discussion. And what you're going to do is you're going to look at the key terms and concepts that Maness and Monroe have highlighted in their discussion in the chapter and use those ideas to guide the summarization of your article. Okay, because I want you to summarize your article in regards to those concepts. Does that make sense? You're not going to be quoting Maness and Monroe per se in this paragraph. You're going to be quoting your article in that paragraph, but you're going to keep in mind those concepts that Maness and Monroe highlight in the chapter and use those to guide your summary. Okay? Now, in paragraph 2, 7 to 9 sentences, we're going to establish the credibility, reliability of this article by answering some questions. Now, we talked about this a little bit after the first article. What does it mean to be a credible article, authoritative article, a reliable article? And that's kind of this big open-ended thing about how do you establish the reliability of a source. Well, what we're going to do this week, we're going to kind of put on our critical thinking hats, and we're going to attempt to establish the credibility of our article by answering the following questions. Okay, and that's why this section is 7 to 9 sentences. You need to answer all these questions. If you don't answer any of these questions, you're going to lose points for each one you don't answer. This is important, okay? So we want to know who is the author and what is their credentials. So what you're going to do is you're going to look at who the author is, and you're going to find out what makes this person credible to speak on the subject. It may or may not be covered in your article. If not, you may have to do some internet research. You have to get on Google and search that person and see who they are and see what you can find out. If you can't find anything about their credentials, say that in the paragraph, okay? You won't have to cite the stuff that you Google in this investigative manner here, because this is just teaching you how to get online, search for information, and see if it's good or not. Like, we're not necessarily, citing things for an article here, but I just want you to use some investigative tools to see what you can find out, okay? Then you're going to answer, where was this article originally published? So was it a certain website? Was it in a certain article, magazine, etc.? It doesn't always mean where you found it was the original publication, but wherever it was originally published, tell me about that source. Okay, what it is. Does that publishing entity have a vested interest in the topic? Okay, so keep in mind here, what I mean by that is certain entities are vested in the outcome of a discussion. So keep in mind, like the NRA, okay, we all know that they're vested in limiting gun control. Okay, so if you were reading an article that was opposing gun control against that was published by the NRA, you'd have to keep in mind that that's skewed a little bit because that article is published by somebody that has an interest in the outcome, okay? Just like if you were writing about a plant-based lifestyle and you got an article off of PETA's website, you would have to keep in mind that PETA has a vested interest in not killing animals, right? So you would have to see if that interest is present or skews the information or whatever. So what we want to do is whoever has published this article about abortion, we want to know if they have a vested interest in the topic. Are they an advocacy group that's looking to expand abortion rights, or are they an opposition group that's looking to minimize abortion rights or even get rid of abortion in general? We want to know this about the source, okay? Is there a noticeable appeal to emotion or any other logical fallacies present in the article? Meaning, are they trying to tug at your emotions? Are they trying to kind of work you up in the feelings? Or are they just, presenting facts, right? Does the author write with a bias? Are they trying to persuade the reader or just present facts? So, meaning the two of those are slightly different. One, are they appealing to your emotions? And then in that next question, is there a bias? Is there a clear stance that the author of this article is taking, or even one that they want you to take? Is this a persuasive type article where they're trying to get you to feel the way they feel about the topic. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being, tabloid garbage and 10 being the most sound piece of academic literature ever created, how would you rate the academic nature of this article? And when you do that, I want you to consider the answers to the previous questions. If the answers were good, the rating should be good. If the answers were bad, the rating should be bad. Be honest with how you rate this article, because we want to know if you were able to, deduce the credibility of this article by answering those questions. And finally, should this article be considered part of the academic literature of the ethics of abortion? Academic literature meaning if a student was writing a research paper about, the ethics of abortion, and they wanted to find, 5 to 10 credible sources, that they could help drive this academic discussion, would this be one of those articles you would want included, or is it one that should be rejected because it lacks the specific credibility or reliability that we'd be looking for as an academic source? Okay, so hopefully that all makes sense, and watch the video a few times as I explained it kind of fast, but you can always, watch it a bunch till you feel comfortable, and you can ask me questions about it. What's important is I want paragraph 2 to be in a narrative paragraph, and I'll show you the example in a minute. I don't want you to answer bulleted. If you answer bulleted like this, you will lose points. What I want is a paragraph where you answer these in sentence form one after another, this nice reflective paragraph about the credibility of your article, okay? And it says here, since paragraph 2 is reflective in nature, you may write in the first person perspective. So if you're writing, you say, I couldn't find such and such about the article, or the only information I could find on the publisher was this. I'm okay with that, okay? Just no second person, no you, because remember, I as the reader have not done any of this investigation, so it's all you, so keep it in the first person, all right? And finally, in paragraph 3, 6 to 8 sentences, you're going to compare and contrast the article with the textbook chapter. Be specific. Does the chapter agree, disagree, etc.? So you must cite our textbook and your article properly in this paragraph. Please follow APA 7th edition guidelines. And if you're following along with me, you realize there's a typo here, and I'll fix that when I get off the video here. So it says you must cite to our textbook and your article properly in this paragraph. So what this means is you're going to compare the information in your article to what Maness and Monroe have. Okay, so if yours is a good article with good information, that should be a lot more comparison. You say, Maness and Monroe state that such and such is an important topic on abortion. So-and-so publisher of my article or author of my article, or actually, we won't be using my here. Don't get ahead of yourself, Professor Cruz. But so-and-so author of this article shows similar concept when they say blah, 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 blah. Okay? So we're comparing it. So you take an idea from the textbook chapter and show where it is, in your article, how that idea is reflected. Okay? Now the contrast may come in if you find out that your article isn't as good as what we would expect for this credible source, then you're going to compare and show as to why. So you'd say Maness and Monroe 2020 state that blah, 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 blah. However, Smith 2020 doesn't have a similar concept in theirs. The closest they get is when they say blah, 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 right? So compare and contrast based off the content of your article. So just to be clear, in paragraph 1, you only need to be citing your one article, but keeping the concepts in mind. In paragraph 2, you'll be citing both articles, and you'll show, how they're similar or different your article is anyways to the chapter. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. And in that, you're still going to be in third person, because that is now an academic discussion again, so there's no need to reference yourself in that chapter, or that paragraph, sorry, okay? You must hit the minimum sentence count to receive full credit. Some people are not putting 6 to 8 sentences when I say you got to hit that minimum, guys. Consider that the same as a word count. You know, when I have a word count, everybody is super certain to get to 100 words, 101 if it's the word count. But for some reason, people aren't pushing themselves the same to get to that sentence count. You have to hit your minimum sentences. You have to double space your paper. I don't know why after 8 weeks some people are still single spacing, but we're going to double space and we're going to use Times New Roman 12-point font, okay? You must include a proper APA title page and references page. Failure to provide references will result in a 0. We said that the other day. Going forward, we're tightening up on how we're doing things. People that aren't providing references aren't going to get grades anymore. This is academic work, guys. We need to have our references. Okay, follow the Dropbox criteria. And remember, don't use direct quotes, paraphrase only. You'll lose points for direct quotes, okay? And then you get that submitted into the Dropbox. And when you're doing that, your criteria is here. Remember, the 40-point rubric that I've been using, it's there for you guys. So you know where your points are getting lost. And then here's what the assignment's going to look like in this downloadable Word document. You know, a nice title page. You know, title of the article goes on this page again. Paragraph 1, and just read over what it's asking you to do. We're going to use these nice level 1 headings to separate our information. So I will be looking for those headings. So we have the evaluation of credibility. And then so this is that paragraph where we're going to answer those questions. And then finally we have our discussion, and it's going to say discussion. And we're going to have that paragraph there as well, okay? And then we're going to end it on a reference page where you're going to provide the APA citation from the textbook and your article, okay? So you need to have the citation for both the book and the article on your reference page in alphabetical order, hanging indent, double space, full APA standards, okay? So that's what I have for you now for this video. Watch it as many times as you need to. Bring questions about it to class. I would recommend as soon as you're done with all your midterm stuff and you're ready to start this week, I would recommend finding an article early and getting started and getting thinking about it. Guys, I can tell when we're not, you know, when you guys submit stuff, and a concern that I have is, you know, 2 hours before the assignment is due, you know, 2/3 of the class still hasn't turned it in yet. If you're pushing it to the end on Sunday night, you might miss the Dropbox, the deadline, the assignment, or 2, you're probably not turning in the best work. A lot of these things that are sneaking into the Dropbox aren't scoring very well. That doesn't mean people aren't doing well waiting to the end, but take your time throughout the week, and when it's done, submit it. But a lot of people are pushing it to the limit and wind up missing the Dropbox. So start early, get it done, get it off your plate, and move on to the next assignment, okay? Well, anyways, I look forward to seeing you guys this week in class, and I look forward to a good discussion. And if you have any questions, please email me, and I can see what I do to clear that up for you, okay? See ya.